Hiya folks, it's Paul here from Wexford Wild Valley Honey. It's an August day here, and I'm just going to show you what the bees are doing today. I filtered some of my raw honey there yesterday. You can see those white meshes on the bars there. They're the filters that I use to strain the honey. But obviously there's loads of bits of wax and stuff left over after you strain it. And I feed it back to the bees, you know, after the filters have been used. I feed it back to the bees, as you can see. Some wax there. And some of the wax fell off onto the ground as well. So I give it back to the bees. And afterwards I will wash those filters. So I just give it back to let the bees clean them first. And then put them in a wash so they can be used again. Because this time of the year the bees are a little bit hungry. There's not much in the way of flowers, as you can see. Most of the weeds and stuff, there's the blackberries, they've finished flowering as well. It's just blackberries now that are left over, and the bees don't really eat the blackberries. So at this time of the year there's not a lot for them to feed on. So I let the bees clean up the filters first, and then give them back whatever's left. And I do this a little bit away from the hives, because I don't. If you do it right at the hives, it might encourage like robbing in the hives, if you know what I mean. So I just do it a little bit away from the hives. So they will be different bees from different hives that are cleaning the filters there at the moment, getting the last little bit of wax that's left on them. And sometimes people might say you shouldn't do that because, you know, if, say some of the bees are at whatever else, if they have like, if they're not, you know, maybe mites or stuff, that they're going to be, you know, all the bees are congregating here together from different hives. So whatever, if they have some of them are not well or whatever else, that they will pass that on to the other bees. But the way I see it is that, you know, it's natural to do it. It's nature. It's that the stronger bees will survive anyway, as they would in nature. So that, you know, whichever bees survive, the stronger bees will survive either way, and that's what you want. So let the bees do it themselves. I hope it don't get stung now. You can see down there, it's very active. The bees on the ground. The bees I'm still a little bit worried that getting light on my face and decide to sting me then. But anyway, that's what I do for you guys. There's actually a bee after landing on the phone now. You can't see her, but she's on the phone right beside the camera. Oh, she's gone. The reason I do that is because, you know, all that wax that I have strained out of the honey, out of the raw honey, there's obviously bits of all that wax, there's obviously little bits of honey in the wax still, in the filters. So I let the bees clean it up first, and even by the end of today, I only put that out an hour ago or so. In a couple of hours time they will be clean, and then I'll wash them and be able to use the filters again. But it's good to give back to the bees, you know, because they put a lot of effort into making that honey in the first place. So it's good to give them back. You know, the extra bits of honey, especially at this time of the year. If there was a honey flow on, if there was plenty of nectar flowering this time of the year, they wouldn't be that interested in it. But because now there's one after landing on my finger, I'll show you her. See? So they're usually okay, they're usually not too aggressive, you know, when they're doing this. So She's just cleaning herself there. There's another one. They're just cleaning themselves. There's another one. So those bees, they're probably from different hives. And there's some wasps there as well. And I'll show you what this is now. I'm not quite sure what it is. That thing there, I think it's I must Google it. I think that that thing actually lays eggs in sticks. See it there? But anyway, that's nature. Hello, bee. Are you giving yourself a good clean? Oh, there's another one. And I love to give stuff back to the bees, you know what I mean? All the effort they make in producing the honey in the first place, so if there's any extra bits of stuff in the wax, it'd be in my face there, but she's gone. Any extra bits of stuff, that extra bit of honey, especially this time of year, like I was saying, because there's not much in the way of flowers for them. So they will just eat up the honey, and if they have any extra, they will put it back into the hives. As you can see, look, the flowers, most of the flowers have finished flowering at this time of the year. From now on, from October onwards, the ivy will be flowering, and that'll be the last kind of big feed for the bees before winter comes in, before they settle down for the winter time. And you hear the noise from the bees, you hear that noise. Another one after having in my hand. I'll show you her. See a little bit of wax on her back. She's just cleaning herself off. Because like in the wild, that's what bees do. You know what I mean? In the wild, bees do that. Say a hive dies out somewhere in the wild, like naturally, the other bees will sense that, and they will basically do what they're doing here. They will clear it out, like they will, you know, go and take all the honey from that hive and clean it out. And then, you know, next summer, if there was next spring, and it's warm again, they would go to that hive and take it over, like a colony would take it over. But it's late in the year now, so there might still be a swarm or two, but it's really late in the year. So there's, you know, they probably wouldn't survive because they wouldn't have much of a chance to build up their reserves for the winter time. So what I'm doing today also, will help to give back a little bit to the bees so that they can build up their own reserves for the winter time. And you can see some wasps in there as well. At this time of the year, they are hungry too. So it's all a cycle really. It's just a cycle. The bees produce a lot extra honey and extra honey that they produce, I can take that and strain it, filter it, and then put it in jars for people to use. But in the wild nowadays, there's not many hives in the wild anymore because there's not as many old trees, like big trees, that they can find a hole in, if you know what I mean, to make a natural hive, a wild hive. So what they're inclined to do is to find a hole, or find a place in somebody's eave or something, like somebody's roof, or in the fascia of a house, and to make a hive there instead. So that would kind of be classed as a wild hive too. But there's not many wild hives in trees and stuff, because you need like a really mature tree with a hole in it, like an ash tree or whatever kind of tree, that there's a hole inside in the trunk or whatever, and the bees can make a natural and a wild hive. My mother said when she was younger, she's 84 now, that there was loads of hives around like that. When you go out into the forest, whatever, you would see swarms of bees in the summertime. But nowadays, not so much. So the managed hives, we call them, the hives that I have and other beekeepers have, they give a ready-made home for the bees to live in. And there is a lot of trees being sold now as well. More trees being sold because we're conscious of the fact that we need trees. It's good for the environment, good for the planet. I'm just going close. I hope you don't get sun. You can see what's going on in here. There's a wasp as well. Anyway folks, thank you for looking at my video, and please like and subscribe.